Hello and welcome back to Ryder's BlockBuster. My name is Creed and I love this movie. Sleepaway Camp has fun kills, characters, settings, and possibly my favorite plot twist of all time. So strap in and enjoy as we talk about what happens in Sleepaway Camp. And as always, there are spoilers in this breakdown, so just be warned. We open on a lake where we see John Baker and his two kids, Peter and Angela, enjoying the day. The kids sneak up on their dad and push him into the water, causing the boat to tip over in the process. Other boaters on the lake are distracted as they switch seats and they don't see the capsized boat. They ram right into it, flying over the top and cutting up everything beneath. We see John's body float by and one life jacket torn to shreds before we see that only one child survived the accident. We cut to 8 years later and we meet Dr. Martha Thomas and her son Ricky. We also see Angela is there and learn that Martha took her in after her father and siblings' deaths. Martha is eccentric to say the least. The way she speaks is unusual and kind of disturbing at times.
Kept reminding myself. In fact, I tied a string around my finger so I wouldn't forget. See? And I didn't. You never can be too careful.
Martha helps the kids get packed for summer camp and gives them their signed physicals, which she did personally, and sends them off for the summer. As the buses arrive and chaotic kids rush to their cabins, we meet Mel, the owner of Camp Arawak, and Ronnie, the head camp counselor. We're then introduced to some of the kitchen staff, with the head cook Artie making comments about how attractive he finds some of the kids. So yeah, this dude's he's a major creep. Among the kitchen staff, we also meet Ben, who was played by Robert Earl Jones, who's the father of James Earl Jones, the Darth Mufasa man himself, so boom bam, fact of the day or whatever. Ricky sees his friend Paul and agrees to meet up once he gets Angela to her cabin. Angela's very shy throughout the whole exchange and generally doesn't say much due to the trauma she had as a child. On the way to the girls' cabins, we meet Judy, who is awfully snooty and quite ruddy. We learn that Ricky and her dated at the last summer camp, but now she's grown up, so she thinks she's too good for him now. Angela goes inside the cabin and we meet Meg.
M-E-G.
Who is the leader of the girls' cabin. Angela stares at Judy, and when they demand she stops, Angela keeps staring and doesn't say a word, putting most of the girls against her right out the gate. We skip to a few days later and Ronnie walks into the cafeteria in the shortest shorts known to man. He was told that Angela hasn't eaten in a few days and offers to take her into the kitchen to find her something she'll eat. In the kitchen, Ronnie introduces Angela to Artie, but he's pulled away by a phone call. Artie takes Angela to the back room to find her something to eat. Meanwhile, we see that Ricky is searching for Angela. Judy and Meg tell him how strange and quiet she's being. Ricky tells them off before heading into the kitchen. Artie begins to back Angela into a corner and begins to be the biggest creep known to man. But before anything can happen, Ricky barges in and gets Angela out of there. A little while later, Artie and Ben are boiling water in a comically large pot, getting ready to cook up some corn. Ben takes a break, and when he leaves, we see the perspective of someone enter the kitchen and hide. Artie climbs onto a step stool to drop the corn in, when whoever was hiding sneaks up and shoves him. Artie catches himself on a shelf and begs his assailant to stop. We watch as the step stool is pulled from beneath him and Artie falls, bringing down the pot of boiling water right on top of him.
They're so overcooked, it's f***ing insane. You can't do that to me!
Artie is taken to the hospital, alive but in too much pain to make any sense. Mel wants to push past this incident, assuring everyone that it must have been an accident and he doesn't want to scare the campers or their parents. He offers Ben the job of head chef and tells everyone to keep things quiet. Two campers, named Mike and Kenny, try to ask Angela out, but when she doesn't speak to them, they immediately start to make fun of her. Ricky and Paul show up dressed real hearty and ready to party, and when they hear what Mike and Kenny are saying, they hop into action and begin to brawl. The fight is broken up pretty quickly, and after the fight, Paul goes up to Angela and introduces himself. Paul tells Angela about all the pranks he and Ricky have gotten up to in the past summers, and Angela seems really interested in what he's saying. At the end of the conversation, Paul gets up to leave, saying goodnight, but is surprised when Angela actually speaks back to him.
Well, good night, Angela.
Good night.
Good night.
After the nightly social, a group of guys and girls go down to the lake to skinny dip. Kenny puts the moves on a girl named Leslie and takes her on a midnight canoe trip around the lake. While they're out there, Kenny starts rocking the boat and ends up tipping it over. Leslie gets upset and swims away, while Kenny dives beneath the boat to try and flip it back over. While he's under there, he sings this little tune that I've had stuck in my head for like the past 8 years. I don't know why, it's so catchy to me.
Hey, Baba Reba. Hey, Baba Reba.
Before Kenny can flip the boat over, he's joined by someone, and he says,
What the hell are you doing here? I bet the rest of the boys will be interested in seeing you.
before he's pushed beneath the water. The next morning, the lifeguard is cleaning up the beach. He comes upon the canoe, but when he flips it over, he sees Kenny there, drowned from the night before. A police officer comes down to investigate and says that it's likely he drowned by complete accident. But Ronnie remembers Kenny being a good swimmer, so he's beginning to have doubts. While the girls are playing volleyball, we see Judy wearing her sick Judy merch. Angela sits on the bench when Paul comes and asks her on a date to the dance that night. Judy sees this and she gets jealous. She tells Meg to break up their conversation and scare Paul away. After the movie that night, Paul and Angela walk out holding hands and looking all cute. Paul offers to walk Angela back to her cabin, and we see Ricky is left behind, and he gets shut down by Judy. Paul takes Angela behind the cabin, and they have one of the most awkward first kisses I've ever seen.
I hope you're not mad I did that.
I'm not mad. I better go in.
Can I have another one? You know, another goodnight kiss?
I have to go now.
I think it's done pretty well. Like you can definitely see this is two kids maybe sharing their first kiss. It's really awkward. It's pretty cute. I thought it was funny. In the boys' cabin, they are pulling a prank on a boy that they call Mozart. When he's splattered with shaving cream, Mozart pulls out a knife and chases the boys around. Ronnie, another camp counselor, breaks up the fight and takes away Mozart's knife, promising to give it back to him at the end of the summer. The next morning, Paul sneaks up on Angela.
Guess who?
Ricky.
Nope.
Burt Reynolds.
You're getting warmer.
I give up.
Surprise!
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
But of course, Judy sees this and she gets jealous. She tells Meg, and then Meg goes up to Angela and shakes her around, asking her why she never goes into the water with them. Ronnie rushes over and breaks up the little confrontation before it gets too far. Meg gets in trouble, and Judy blames Angela for that directly. Judy starts to make fun of the other girl, mocking her for how she's not showering with the other girls and not swimming with them, saying that it's because of her ugly body. A girl named Susie steps in and slaps Judy to shut her up. The next day, a group of boys throw water balloons at Angela. Ricky sees this and runs over to help. He screams at the boys, telling them that he's going to kill them and make them all pay for the way that they keep treating his cousin. He keeps yelling, only stopping when Mel pulls him away. The boy who threw the balloon is named Billy. We watch as he goes to the bathroom and sees someone lock the stall closed when he enters. Someone then cuts the screen off of the bathroom window and shoves a beehive into the stall. Billy screams and tries to get out of the stall, only succeeding when he falls against it, dead from bee stings. We cut to a few days later, and Mel is freaking out because most of the campers have been taken home due to word getting out about all of the deaths. He thinks he knows who's been killing everyone, but he doesn't have any proof. Paul and Angela go down to the lake and begin some smooching before Angela pushes Paul over. They make out in the sand, but Angela has a memory suddenly trigger. She sees her dad and his partner in bed together before it suddenly cuts to Angela and Peter sitting on a bed together with Peter pointing at Angela as we spin around the room. Back to the present, Angela freaks out and runs away. The next morning, Paul tries asking Angela what he did wrong and if everything is alright. Angela doesn't give him a straight answer and she walks away. Judy sees Paul alone and begins to put the moves on him. Ricky catches up with Angela a little bit later and tells her of his plan to win a game of Capture the Flag. They cut into the woods, but stumble upon Judy and Paul making out. Angela runs away with Paul running after her. Later on the beach, Judy and Meg begin to pick on Angela. Ricky goes down to help, but is stopped when Mel grabs him and begins to accuse him of being the killer. We watch behind them as Meg picks up Angela and throws her into the water. Ronnie tells Mel to stop, allowing Ricky to rush to the water to help. As Ricky helps Angela out of the water, a bunch of the younger campers throw sand at them. Ricky yells at them, telling them off, and gets Angela safely to the bench.
Calm down, Angela. It's okay now. Everything's gonna be alright. You won't let them get away with this, that's for sure. I promise we won't.
That night, Meg is showering and getting ready for a date with Mel when we see the cabin door open and someone's shadow entering. Meg backs up against the shower wall when whoever entered the cabin stabs through the wall and into Meg's back. The person rinses off the knife and we see it's the same one that Mozart was using earlier that summer. Paul tries to apologize to Angela at the nightly social, but she doesn't really reciprocate. All she wants to do is speak with Ricky, but we learn that he's back in his cabin, sick from dinner. Paul continues to apologize, and it seems like it may have worked as Angela agrees to meet him by the lake after the nightly social. Mel begins to look around for Meg as they were supposed to meet up over an hour ago. He's told that she went to shower, and when Mel goes to investigate, Meg's body falls, and then Mel has this rant that you can only make out about 20% of what he's saying. Listen to it.
Oh my God! Not you, Meg! He did this to get back at me. I had him, Meg. I had him. I let him go. Forgive me. Please forgive me. I'll stop him. Gotta stop him! Won't get away, Meg. Never get away from me again.
Judy's date leaves her in her cabin alone, but a few minutes later, someone that she recognizes enters. She starts to be snooty before she's punched and knocked out.
So basically, what I was thinking of was, oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
We see the assailant strap her to the bed, pick up her curling iron, and, well, Judy is dead now. All right, that's all that matters. Judy is dead. The younger campers go off for the night to spend the night in the woods, but while the counselor is away, we see someone enter the campsite and grab a hatchet. When the counselor gets back, all of the campers are chopped up in their bloody sleeping bags. We see Ricky enter the cafeteria a bit later. Oh, hey, Bill. Sorry about that. We see Ricky enter the cafeteria a bit later, saying that he hasn't gotten a chance to eat yet. As he's walking back to his cabin, Mel grabs him and drags him into the woods. Mel slaps the boy and then begins to beat him, asking him why he's done what he's done and calling him a liar the entire time. When he sees the unconscious boy, Mel realizes what he's done. He runs away and stumbles upon the archery range. A light shines on him and he says, "No, it can't be you," before he's shot by an arrow through the throat. Ronnie calls the cops and all of the counselors separate to look for any of the missing campers. Angela meets Paul at the beach and she says she wants to go swimming, and when Paul asks about swimming suits, she just tells him that they'll take off their clothes. The cop and Jean stumble upon Ricky in the woods, finding him alive but barely. Ronnie and Susie are searching near the beach when they hear singing. They see Angela sitting on the beach with Paul laying in her lap. And then we get a flashback. We see Angela's aunt Martha speaking with her. She agrees to take the child in after the accident by the lake. She says that she's always wanted a little girl, not a little boy, since she's already had Ricky. As the camera pans around, we see that the child who survived at the beginning was not Angela at all, but was Peter. He tries to say something in protest, but Aunt Martha won't hear it and declares that he is now Angela. Back to the present, Paul's head rolls off of Angela's lap, decapitated. Angela stands and stares at the counselors with an expression that will haunt you in the darkest hours of the night. Ronnie and Susie see the naked Angela and realize that they have been the killer the entire time. We freeze on Angela's face, and the movie is over. When I first sat down to watch this movie, I was expecting just a plain bad 80s horror movie. And what I got was a really good time. Like, I genuinely loved this movie. It has some pretty bad audio issues, I'll be quite honest with, but like, the cinematography's fine, you know, it's like, it's a summer camp, like, it's there, it does what it needs to do, but they just had fun with it. The setting is fun, the characters all have fun, like, Ricky has this crazy potty mouth on him, he's just screaming like half of the movie. And then, of course, that plot twist, I love it. I love things that are just bizarre, just completely out there, and rewatching it, it actually does plant the seed of the plot twist throughout the movie. Like, there's little hints to it, just here and there, that they just tease you with, and when you know to look for them, it's actually pretty well done. The movie was loved by at least some people because it got like 3 or 4 different sequels, I think, and I remember a few years back seeing this robot chicken clip and just really appreciating it. So here you go, I'll show you.
Oh my God! Angela's the killer and she was really a boy! Oh my God! Somebody remembered this movie and wrote a comedy sketch about it!
But yeah, anyway, that's Sleepaway Camp. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like as well as subscribe so you don't miss out on the next stuff. But yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and bye!
Mm.